All right. What's up, landlords? Renee here. I got Jason. We're going to have a chat. He's basically a fellow real estate investor and much more. And a friend of mine. We go to the same church, live in the same area. So, Jason, can you give us a quick intro about yourself?
Yes, sir. Hey guys, Jason Eccles, broker, realtor, and investor. And I apologize, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, so if I cough or sneeze or something, I'll try to mute myself so you don't have to listen to that. But I've been doing real estate for a little over 20 years in all facets, as I imagine most entrepreneurial journeys are. There's been ups and downs and changes and pivots based on market and other factors. But I first got in doing wholesaling, as most investors kind of, I imagine that's kind of the entry for a lot of investors. And I hired a coach at that time back in 2012 or so, and did 100, 150 wholesale deals at that time. And then the market was getting a little weird kind of around that time. So we all decided to get, I was part of like kind of a group, an alliance, and we all decided to get our real estate licenses at that point because I didn't have my license, didn't need it. But there were some things going on that we decided all to get it just to comply with with what was going on, laws and guidelines. So I did that, and then I found that I really enjoyed doing the whole real estate agent thing. I liked educating. I liked kind of like taking someone from the beginning to the end of the process and navigating all the ups and downs of that. And so I did that for probably 15 years, and sprinkled in investments, flips, and helping other people buy investments and rental properties and things like that. And then probably in the last 2.5 or so years, again, because of the market, did another pivot and went kind of full time into investing. So I kind of hung my hat of the whole real estate agent stuff and focused 100% on investing. And since that time, I think we did about 40 something flips, and I acquired 7 doors for rentals. And now the market's kind of being weird again. So I'm kind of growing back up my team of real estate agents and the retail side, while at the same time still focusing myself on investing in all different facets. So that's the quick story of my journey.
That's awesome. That's a lot. I know you're a wealth of information. One thing that really stood out to me is your slogan, your home sold guaranteed or we'll buy it. How did
Yeah.
you come up with that? Like, is that a new slogan you've had, or have you had this for the whole time?
Not for the whole time, but a lot of people throw that around or something similar.
Okay.
I just use it because I literally want to buy all the homes. So I am in what they call an end buyer, where I would buy the house personally. A lot of the agents and brokerages that use that slogan, they kind of farm out the buy it part, where they'll go with whatever Open Door or any of these big iBuyer companies, these hedge fund type buyers, or their real angle is just as a gimmick to be able to list the property.
Okay.
So I just it's simply what they call a unique selling proposition, a USP in like real estate, where it's just like, why do business with me versus any of the other 30,000 plus agents or brokers in Central Florida? Why am I better? What value do I bring above and beyond? And so usually what happens is I will make a cash offer, and it's a no nonsense, quick close, no commission, no closing costs, no stress kind of a transaction. Obviously it's less than, what would be considered market value, but it does two things. Number one, it gets them kind of a plan B, right? It gets them like an option if everything else fails on the open market or the listing side. And B, when we do list it, we can legitimately say we have an offer. If someone wants to make an offer, and usually if it's a good agent, they'll say, hey, do you have anything on the table, anything negotiating, any offers? And legitimately the seller or the list agent can say, yeah, we do have an offer. So give us your highest and best. So it kind of does benefit the seller in more ways than just, hey, I have this cash offer that I can use if all else fails.
Okay, that's cool. I thought it was you were like really confident or good at your job, so you knew what you're doing. Because I did
No,
notice
I
when I
have
was,
no. I'm not good at all. I don't know. No.
I saw you
Yeah,
were
I mean
five
that's
star.
that. Well, of course you have to be if you're going to put your money on the line, right? If you're going to actually deliver on the promise or the advertisement that you make, then yeah, like you gotta be pretty good. You got to know the back end market. You got to know what's going on, in the macro market, as well as the micro. And you have to know that that offer you're going to put out there, the cash you're going to put into this property is going to actually benefit you as the investor, as the buyer, as much as benefiting the seller. So 100% you have to know your stuff. You can't just make that offer, kind of willy nilly, and have it be a serious offer, unless, like I said, you just farm it out and then it's not you at all, and you just throw the information into some website and then they give some offer, but you can't you can't really speak to that. You can't really explain where that offer came from or why it is the offer. And the other thing with those big, hedge fund buyers is that they'll usually kind of backtrack. So they'll give you some phenomenal, amazing, you've probably seen these advertisements. Hey, I'll buy your house for market value or whatever. What they do is they get like a quote unquote inspection, and then they're going to knock you off 30, 40, 50 grand, because, they need to clean the carpets, so that's kind of the MO of a lot of these big guys. And by that time you're 2, 3 weeks in and you've already, went under contract or started packing, or, have at least in your mindset that you're going to be moving, and they kind of got you in a lot of times, in those situations. So, I don't do it that way. I actually sign the check. I actually transfer the funds out of my account into theirs. So in that way, I am a little bit more knowledgeable, and I can speak a little more into, all the numbers and why we're doing it. And I can be very flexible with the sellers, right? Sometimes the quick cash offer maybe isn't the best scenario, but maybe they need a little time, and maybe we can give them more money if they take terms. If I can make payments over time, I do that quite often, and we can get them more in the long run, than just a quick one option cash offer. So you have to know what you're doing for sure to make that kind of claim.
Okay. And I imagine that being a real estate agent, you're going to have some disclosure saying, hey, I can help sell your house, but I do have an interest in potentially buying it, just so you're aware of this. And also you being upfront like that and comparing and contrast yourself with the big, name hedge funds and stuff, the ones you get the mailers from, saying, hey, we'll buy your house at cash offer and some kind of inflated price. I get them all the time.
Yeah.
And I think what they're doing is fishing. They're trying to get you to bite and get closer. And then they'll be like, oh, your roof is kind of old, or oh, we found some cracks here or something. Anything I could do is start chipping away. I did see that you were 5-star rated on Zillow, Realtor, Yelp. Like, you really had cast a wide net, because when I was doing research on you, it was kind of fun watching all your videos and everything. One thing I wanted to ask you is about the evicted tenant that left a car in the garage. Whatever happened to that car?
I think if I remember right, that was a little while ago. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. But that one, I think somebody came and got it. Somebody eventually came and got it. So I don't remember. We had called. I didn't even. Apparently, it's really hard to get rid of a car, even if you're trying to give it away. Because I didn't have the keys, and I didn't even know the condition or history of it, of course, because it was just literally left there in the garage. But it looked like a decent enough car. But anyway, yeah, someone I think eventually came and, like, whoever was the owner or some representative of the owner came and got that, if I remember right.
Okay. And what about some of your videos? I saw you include your kids with it. It was kind of fun. Is that just something like you kind of just whimsical, kind of just, did off the cuff, or do you plan that? Do you have I don't know, a habit of including your kids and stuff like that in your videos? Because I did see you do a lot of videos with local businesses and other people on your team and stuff. So I was just curious how you go about all that.
I mean, I fancy myself like some kind of, internet marketer, whatever, like advertisement type of guy. But in all honesty, I'm sort of, shooting from the hip. I just thought it would be cool. I thought it'd be fun. They really were interested in what, Daddy was doing. And so I put him in there and kind of like thought up some scenario and some little, I mean, the social media stuff is it gets much more traction if you're entertaining, right? And we're doing an education video here, and we try to keep it, lively and fun. But honestly, people jump on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and they're going to consume this content because it's funny or interesting or entertaining. And so with that mindset is why I put a lot of that content out. in my best effort. And it's you go back sometimes, you look at it and it's like you kind of cringe. But yeah, that was the whole point of that. I thought it'd be cute or entertaining, and they'd be able to, get a little more than look at this house I flipped or look at this house I listed, and they could see some cute kids and get a little bit more, to know me a little more as well in my family. So that was the purpose behind that one.
No, it was definitely entertaining for me. I saw you were going to conferences. I mean, you were interviewing like contractors and gyms and stuff. And how did you get featured on Zillow and House Hunters? And then I even saw you on an international property show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, one thing you kind of realize as you get more and more into this business is that it tends to be kind of smaller and smaller as you do more and more stuff and you get more success. You kind of see the same names and you see the same kind of companies. And the other thing is you can't. It's very very difficult to do this alone. And so, you're going to cross paths. You're going to do deals. You're going to do, transactions, even if you're like on opposite sides, buyer seller type of thing, or, buyer agent, listing agent. And so those opportunities just kind of come because of honestly just kind of being at the right place at the right time. There's no real secret. And you start talking to somebody and somebody else says your name and then someone else trying to create a show and do this thing. And so that the international property investing show was when Lake Nona was still kind of up and coming. And so that's where we both live in kind of the Lake Nona area. And so I was all about it. I had lived here, I mean, since 2006. So it was kind of like when we had like one restaurant, right? And now it's like the place to be and tons of stuff coming here. And so I just wanted to sort of shout from the rooftops, like, hey, if you are an investor, if you want to buy property, seriously look at Lake Nona. And so that was part of that endeavor. This was a show I think out of UK, and they were doing just weekly I think content on good areas to buy and invest in overseas, but in the US. And this one was done on Florida, and there was multiple areas of Florida that they had different people speaking into, and I was the one that was speaking into Lake Nona. And I can tell you that everyone that heeded my advice in at that time and bought property here is probably thanking me. It's
Oh yeah,
it's been a cool ride.
absolutely. The growth is just phenomenal. Like I love the area and it's only going to get better. So I want to switch
Sure.
gears and get more into like the real estate investing stuff. I know you mentioned it earlier. You got in from wholesaling and you kind of got this evolution. You're flexible and you're bending and adjusting with the times. How do you find your deals right now?
Yeah, I mean, any way and every way, honestly. That's not that's a super vague and not maybe so much hopeful answer, but the reality is you have to have multiple streams of finding deals. So I do my own, like I said, PPC type marketing, Facebook, Google, that kind of stuff. I do PPL, which is pay per lead, which there's lead gen companies that basically do their own marketing on Facebook and Google and other avenues, and then they sell direct leads. I utilize wholesalers a lot. These guys, I'm on like a million lists. I get, 30 properties a day, in all different areas and all different price points and all different types of properties. And so I got my team vetting those and underwriting those. And then I do have a pretty big network as well, just being in the business for, as long as I have. And so I have past clients and other investors that I've worked in that are kind of more mom and pop and don't have a big operation. They're kind of one off and they just know me and trust me. And so a lot of deals kind of happen that way as well. And I go to a lot of meetups. There's no shortage of, you can literally go to a meetup every day in Orlando, on all different facets of real estate investing. And so I speak at some. I'm present at many of them. And so through that, again, your name gets kind of around. You see the same faces over and over. You see kind of who are players and who's doing what. And and I really really enjoy educating. I really just enjoy sharing whatever knowledge I might have gotten through experience or through other educational things that I've gone through. And I think people, especially when they're starting out, or especially when they're just maybe have a few deals under their belt but not really a big operation, they appreciate that. And so I do that because I know that in the long run, if they're going to do something in real estate investing or in anything real estate, and I provide value and I give a little bit of expertise, knowledge, whatever, that down the line they're going to remember that, and there's going to be some deal, 2, 3, 4, whatever years from now, and I'm going to be like, hey, I'd like to partner with you on that deal, and if they remember that I gave them value, back when they were starting out, then I may get that deal at that time because of the value I put in. So it's abundance mindset, it's long-term thinking, and I really enjoy it. So it's benefited me, throughout the years.
Okay. So would you say you have a specific niche? What kind of properties do you target or favor? Like SFRs? Do you get into like storage or maybe multifamily? Like what do you like?
Yeah. Um, there's there there's no shortage of types of properties, and I'd love to be in more. What my sort of I guess niche or bread and butter, or like my wheelhouse is really single family flips and small multi rentals. So I very rarely buy a single family rental. And if it is a single family, I'm probably converting it. Like I'm making a garage apartment or putting an ADU. I just find that it offers much more versatility and streams of income with doing the multis. And so, that's the strategy I utilize for that. Um, as far as storage and mobile home parks and all that kind of stuff, all this extra commercial stuff, I have not gotten into yet. I've been around it. I know people that are in it, and actually, my family has done that, in that space before. But me personally, I stick to what I know because I'm busy enough doing the stuff that I'm doing, and there's enough to go around that I have not branched out yet. But it's something that I'm definitely interested in, and I'm sure I will in the near future. But I have not dipped my toe into that stuff yet.
Okay. So with your rentals and as far as leverage goes, are you intending to pay off these rentals? Like, what's your exit strategy? How do you go about handling your debt, your equity, and like
Yeah,
maybe looking to the future, how you might exit?
right. So I honestly, there isn't really one specific strategy, and so it highly depends on like how I enter it, and then also what's going on in the market and what I need at the current moment. So I'll give you a perfect example. I bought a property 2 years ago. It was two different structures, two different properties on one parcel, which is I love those kind of properties. So, but when I bought it cash and then I refinanced out. So I guess it's kind of a hybrid BRRRR method in that situation, but it already had renters in there. So I really didn't fix it up that much. I fixed it up over time once I changed out tenants, but it was like immediate cash flow right when I bought it. So, I bought it about 140 grand, and it was in St. Cloud. And at the time it was 4.5% interest, which was great. So, um, that was, fast forward 2 years, which literally this was last month. What I did is because low interest loans are so valuable right now with the interest rate market, um, I knew I could get a premium by doing a subject to the existing financing, and then I held a note. And so we sold it. I think it was last month. No, I think it was this month, earlier this month. Anyway, we sold it at 273, and I think I got like 40K down, and then I held a note at 4% interest, and so I'm making now, I'm getting a monthly payment every month out of that, and I don't deal with anything. No tenants, no turnover, no maintenance, no phone calls. I just get a check every month, and then I got that little lump sum payment at the beginning, and because I have interest on it at 4%, instead of the 130 or whatever the note ended up being, I'm actually over the long run, if they don't pay me off early, I think I'll make like 200 over 200 on that payoff note over term. So that's the power of terms and taking money later or over time. You actually get in your account over that time frame much more than if I was just to sell it on the open market, for cash or for an end buyer or whatever the case. So it really just depends on what's going on in the market, how do I extract the highest value out of each property, and and what strategy I'm going to use to be able to put that money into something, something else bigger, better, or new, or whatever. And so I'll take that money and I'll do more flips, and I'll pay off my other rentals quicker. But I don't my priority is not paying them off. That's not my priority. My priority is maximizing every asset, including every dollar, to produce more assets in dollars, and paying off each property as quickly as possible, and dumping a whole bunch of funds into just paying it off is a safe play. I get why people do that. But I'm not, I'm trying to grow, and growth and safety often are at odds.
So when it is that was that assumable mortgage and they assumed it, or do they
No,
give you the money and you pay it? How does that, technical aspect of it work out? Because like if they can't call up the mortgage if it's in your name unless there's some kind of a permission. Like how does that work?
right. So they have permission. So they get a limited power of attorney in order to contact the lender essentially on my behalf. It only really needs to be done at the beginning, because they need information like payoffs, monthly payments, things like that, and if they change out insurance into their name, whatever the case. After that, they basically have access to the login of the website for the servicer or for the lender, and so they just basically make payments directly. And so once that's all taken care of and it closes and it switches names or whatever, usually, a lender, what's the only thing they want? They want the payments. They want on-time payments. And so they're not going to necessarily care who makes the payments, just that they are made. And so it's called a sub two. It's not an assumption. It's not, they don't go and put their W-2s and income and P&Ls and taxes and all that kind of stuff, and get qualified, so to speak. They just basically start making payments. And so my name is still on the loan, on the underlying mortgage. And that is, that's very beneficial to a buyer, right? Not only to get the terms of the loan, which is low interest rate and all that kind of stuff, but also because they don't have to go and get qualified. Their credit score doesn't matter. Their how many properties they own doesn't matter, because they're sort of assuming the payments without assuming the actual loan. And then I put on, obviously the note. So I'm in second position on that note. And that's where I'm getting the payments in addition to the down payment that they paid me. And so for me, it worked out nice because I like the residual income. I like cash flow. That's one thing that I do prioritize right now, is cash flow over like long-term equity growth. Although all properties will grow in equity, over time, some more than others, but my thing is kind of focusing on cash flow right now. So that was a way that I could get a lump sum payment plus cash flow without having the stress of maintenance and turning over tenants and, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's creative finance right there. Did you present this offer to the buyers when they just came to you? They wanted the property, or did they present it to you? How did that come
I
out?
marketed that way. I
Okay, great.
marketed that, hey, I'm selling this as a sub two. Here's the interest rate payments, and then here's the purchase price. Here's the down payment. And so I laid it out and marketed it that way.
Very smart, because you knew that the low interest rate was very valuable. And I wouldn't be
Exactly.
surprised if I see more of that, because right now they talk about people don't want to move because they're in a mortgage with a really low interest rate right now, and they're just going to stay put because they don't want to get rid of this. But if they knew about the sub two, is what you called it, and
Mhm.
they could still potentially go somewhere else. But then the issue would be for them, if they want to get another loan, if they can qualify with a debt to income, because that previous mortgage that they're leaving is still going to show up on their credit. When you do this, is it in your personal name or your company's name?
That particular one was in my personal name,
Okay.
because it was a traditional loan. It was a traditional conventional loan. And so it's harder to get with an LLC.
Yeah.
So because of the terms and rate and stuff that I got, I just put that one in my personal name, which happens a lot because of that, because of the terms and interest and all that. But I protect myself through putting, the properties in a trust in most cases. So it offers anonymity, even though the loan is still in my personal name.
Got it. So, how would you divide up your all your business ventures in a pie, like percentage wise? With like, I would guess flipping it seems to be the majority right now, but you
Yep.
also help buyers and sellers, and you do your own real estate investing with your own buy and holds. How would
Yep.
you divide those three or more up?
I would say probably 70% flips, straight flips, and then 20% rentals and 10% retail, like agent stuff.
Okay.
Although, like I said, I am kind of transitioning to more, it'll be probably more like, more retail stuff. And the reason it's so low in my rentals is because I'm very, very conservative on my rental and what qualifies for my buy box. So I typically look for a minimum of 20 to 30% return on my rentals. So those are kind of few and far between, and that's why I say that the multis it almost has to be. It's very difficult to do that on a single family. Um, so that's why I don't have a ton more of those. It's just a different strategy that I use because again, I'm looking for cash flow.
Hmm. And that's your money in on the deal, the 20% yield, I guess, on that is what you're looking at.
Right, cash on cash. Right.
Okay. So with your property management, with the 7 properties you have, do you do that yourself or someone in your team, or do you outsource it?
Um, Essentially, they're self-managed. I do a lot of it, but I also outsource a lot of it to my team as well. Um, so it just kind of depends. It kind of depends on what's necessary. I use team members obviously for a lot of the, I guess I don't want to say grunt work, but it's like the stuff like doing inspections and dropping off paperwork or whatever the case. Even sometimes like contacting tenants and just kind of checking in, or making appointments for whatever vendors or contractors, whatever the case. Um, so it's kind of a hybrid, but I don't have a company. In fact, I'm starting a company. I'm trying to acquire a property management company because I actually enjoy that. I enjoy talking to the tenants and kind of doing what I can to help them and creating that relationship. Um, so I'd like to expand that, and that's something that I'm looking to do this year.
Oh, that's great. Can you elaborate more on how it's kind of like self-managed? The tenant is managing it. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean I'm managing it.
Okay.
Like I'm self. Like I don't have a property management company.
Okay. And do you use a property management software, or if you acquire this other company, you'll kind of follow suit and use their systems?
Maybe I'd have to look at it and see what systems they're using. But yeah, I use like a super cheap, just consumer. I think it's called Turbo Tenant,
Okay.
um, and it's no bells and whistles, but I mean it works great and it has a lot of functionality that I need, and it's like $9 a month for
Yeah.
each property, and because I believe because I have multis like because it's like one address and then like unit A, unit B type of thing. I believe that's considered one property. So it's $9 for each basically parcel. And it offers everything I need. So it's like a no-brainer for me.
Do they do direct deposit, or are they dropping off cash? How do you collect the rents?
Uh it's through their website. They put in their information, they can do automatic withdrawals from their account. And then it goes into my direct deposit from there.
Great. That's awesome. I've heard people talk about that before. You said it was Turbo Tenant, or
Tenant, yeah.
okay. And then I thought there was another one, something Cloud, Tenant Cloud, or something. There's so
There's a
many
bunch of
versions
them.
of it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I just landed on this one and it works well. So
Yeah. All right. So, turning towards the close of this, just out of curiosity, like, big lessons learned, for anybody that's new to real estate investing, being a landlord and stuff like that. Do you have any big lessons that you've learned, something important that you would share with newbies?
yeah, I mean, I would say that if there's one thing that I would do differently or do more, would be put myself out there and get, nose to nose with other investors. And I did do that at the beginning, but I was super intimidated. Um, and I thought I knew nothing, which I did. But I was trying to play the game and trying to, and this is my, maybe my own ego or my own kind of mentality where I thought I needed to be like them or be someone or offer some kind of value with knowledge or experience or whatever. And it tripped me up. And so I would go get in these rooms and I would be very shy and I'd be very hesitant to ask questions or to talk to these people. And when I did, I felt like I had to like be like act like I knew what I was doing, and it hurt me. And so humility and asking questions and kind of brushing off the whole like dismissive sort of attitude that sometimes these guys have. There are people out there that do want to give value, that think like I do. If someone came up to me who's a newbie, I'll talk to them for an hour. If I'm sitting there and I have time and they're willing, I'll share everything and anything, and I'll answer any questions that I know, just because I've been on the other side of that. So I would say get in front of people and find the person or people that are willing to give you the time of day. And then your value can be coming back to them when you go and implement what they tell you. You go and take their advice and you take action. And then you bring back something, a deal, a seller, a lead, a situation, a problem, and let them solve it. And you guys, JV or partner, make money together. And now you've got like a lifelong, mentor, partner, whatever, that you can come back to and do deals with. And maybe someday that person will bring you something. Right. And so that would be kind of the biggest takeaway or piece of advice that I would give, especially newbie investors. Just get out there and make connections. And the people that are the most successful, I find, are the ones that just have humility and just go out there and put themselves out there for good or bad, make a bunch of mistakes, trip, fall on their face, but they get back up and they get back out there. And because that's not the norm, because most people trip and never come back, most people like me stupidly go and think they're talking a game, and people see through that right away. And it takes just longer for those people to get to any kind of success. So that would be my one takeaway or advice.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I definitely hear the humility, and then get out there. Don't try to go it alone. So I know you have kids. Are you interested in grooming up your kids to try to follow your lead, or are you just gonna let them go their own path?
Oh, I mean, of course. I mean, I'll let them, make the decision that they want. My daughter, Alyssa, is into kind of design. So we had talked about her being like a stager, or, you know what I mean? Like a design person that could come design my flips or help out with that. And she's in and out. She's hot and cold with that. But my son, who's 14 now, he's like all in. He's like, oh, I'm gonna be an investor like daddy. So he's, at least for the time being, he's already made up his mind. So I'm kind of bringing him in on some things and doing some math with them, some ROI and kind of what will be the right entry in this and what's the ARV and stuff like that. And so he's, so far he may be taking over the reins, taking over the empire.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, can you take a moment and shill all your stuff? Like what are you promoting? What are you selling, offering, and stuff like that to get it on the record?
Um, Man, I don't have any product or coaching or anything like that. I would just say anyone that wants to reach out and ask any questions at all, dude, reach out. Like drop my stuff down there in the chat or whatever. Like anybody can ever reach out. I mean, I think my number is right here on the Zoom screen here. So I'm happy to answer questions, give advice, talk on the phone with the seller, offer any paperwork, contracts, addendums, leases that I have over the years acquired, spreadsheets and how I run numbers. I mean, whatever. I just really enjoy just teaching and educating, and this what I've always done, whether it's an investor or a seller or my kids. I have that sort of teacher's heart. So reach out. That's all that's it. There's no cost, there's no obligation, there's no contract to sign, NDA, whatever. Like I'm an open book and you can do what you want with it and you can steal my stuff and go do your own thing and never talk to me again. That's cool too. You know what I mean? But I just know that if I give enough value, Zig Ziglar says you can get everything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. And I took that to heart and that's what I'm about.
Awesome. I want to invite you to my landlord community. I have a free school community for landlords. Have you heard of school?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
SKOLL.
yeah, SKOOL. It was created by Sam Ovens. I see you got the acquisition.com and Alex Hermosi just invested into it. So they're going big.
Yep.
And I created a landlord group for like, small mom and pop landlords, do it yourself. And I share
Yep.
everything I can and know from 10 plus years of long distance landlording from the Middle East. I created up a bunch of different shortcuts, hands off approach. I call it self-service management, where I kind of give all the tools to the tenant to kind of let them resolve things on their own. And that requires a lot of effort. Like you have to have a website with good, solid FAQs. You got to have YouTube walkthrough videos and stuff like that. And I carry a home warranty, and I got steps, everything laid out in my lease. And I specifically go for single family homes where it's like they have more of an ownership mentality, want to stay long term. So everything I can, I'm spilling and pouring out. Hey, take this information. Let me know what you think and share something back so we can have some, synergy with other landlords. So I just created that space and it's $99 a month. I can share a referral link with you. And then once you create an account, if you do, you can get your own referral account, and if you refer it to other people, it's a really cool incentive process because I pay every month $99. If I refer you and you pay, I get a little bit of my $99 deducted. And
Got
the
it.
same incentive applies to you when you refer somebody. Your monthly reoccurring $99 payment could potentially be zero one day.
Right.
And it's really awesome. I was even thinking about suggesting it to our church because they have small groups and stuff. And you're in the real estate space with investors and contractors. Who knows how you could use a school community? But I'll invite you to mine at the bottom of this. But a few takeaways I'd like to share, if unless you got anything else,
Go ahead, man.
is when I was clicking all your links trying to find, like, it was like a time capsule. I was going back and I was seeing you when you were young and your kids young, and I see them getting old. It was really fun. But you had so many different links that you were saying, hey, go here, go here. And I was just wondering your strategy, how you were using those domain names. Were you using them for like a project and say, hey, go there, and you capture everybody because in this specific video you presented that and you were able to track how many people came there, and after you were done with it, you kind of let the domain go? How do you use all those?
Yeah, good question. I wish I had some kind of like amazing secret answer. I mean the but there isn't one. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes it's very specific. It was very laid out. It was kind of a funnel where I tracked and then it went into my CRM and this whole thing. And sometimes it was literally just like a vanity site that just kind of went along with whatever I was, advertising at that time. So I think I own something like 400 URLs or something just because I thought this might be a good one, and I'll put some marketing or put some messaging behind that. And so it was literally just like a placeholder to be able to create some Facebook page or group or have a link in the marketing that made sense. That was like, if I was doing like Lake Nona new construction homes like I'm doing right now, and the website would be Lake Nona new construction homes.com. And it's literally just so that it's a cohesive kind of a messaging, and it wouldn't be like, jasoneccles.com/new homes or whatever. And I just felt for my purposes and my messaging for what I was putting out there, having that kind of cohesive like branding that was maybe outside of my name would be beneficial. So that really is the only reason for all those different links. And like I said, through the years I've had different websites and different marketing companies and marketing avenues, and so some of those are now obsolete, and I have new ones that do different things. So I mean, I'm unfortunately I like I said, I fancy myself some kind of marketer guy, but really I just know enough to break things, and sometimes it works, and most often I just sort of like get frustrated and follow someone else's program to do that. But that's really the real reason why all those different links and whatever websites and stuff exist.
Well, thanks for sharing. That's good to know. I did see that you had three Facebook pages, and those were really helpful for me to kind of go back and see. I felt like I got to know you more than you know you from church and stuff. It was more like
Yeah.
your business side. And I was like, oh wow, that's cool. And I could see how genuine you are and how knowledge you are. And I thought it was really valuable stuff, but it was a lot to get to on Facebook. You have to scroll and keep going deeper and deeper down and everything. And then I found your YouTube channel, which was really old, and I saw some videos. You were driving around Lake Nona way back when, showing, what's in here and what's there and what neighborhood and all this. And it was like you were helping a client. It was really cool to see all that stuff. I do have a question for you. Have you considered going back and compiling all that stuff and putting it on your YouTube channel and like creating like good titles so that it's like searchable, so it's like evergreen content?
I should. I definitely should. Have I thought about it? I've thought about doing that. In fact, I have someone I'm talking to right now that's sort of like a video editor type guy, and he's like professional videos and stuff, and we're probably going to do some content. But yeah, man, I mean, it's in the works. Unfortunately, I'm not, I think I'm good in that, but the reality is I'm just completely not. And so that's just something that's on like kind of the back burner. Cause my thing is I'm talking to sellers. I'm meeting at kitchen tables. I'm making offers. I'm involved in doing the flips and listing them and coordinating the contractors to get those going. And so, yeah, unfortunately the marketing stuff where I'm compiling and putting right keywords and all that kind of stuff, it just sort of falls through the cracks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to know. I was saving my questions for the end because I was trying to get to know you and just put this stuff on the record. I'm hoping one day my kids will see us having this conversation, and getting, it's like a time capsule for them, seeing how we're trying to help and we're trying to, serve God's other children and stuff like that, and just doing the best we can with what our passions are, and helping others. And I don't know, that's just my kind of underlying motivation for doing this, put myself out here on camera and stuff, because I don't feel comfortable. I don't really like it, but I'm like, all right, I just got to do this for the greater good of the family, and maybe I can help some people. That's why I created the school program that I got for landlords. Also, my slogan is I want to help landlords cash flow forever. So I tried to create some kind of catchy slogan. Like, that's why I recognize yours, and I really appreciate that. But that's it for now. For me, I'm just going ahead and end the live.
God bless, man. Thank you.
Thanks. See.